All right, Veritas 48. Another response to your video called The Presumption of Atheism Moving Along, where you asked for atheists, well, strong atheists, but okay, but I'm going to pass myself off as a strong atheist just so I could do this. You wanted me to join the camp anyway, right? So I'm going to pass myself off as one. I'll be a spy in the house of atheism. Um, when is absence of evidence? When is that evidence of absence? So I have some ideas. Now, I don't know how many of these would apply to an immaterial, spaceless, timeless entity, but who knows? Maybe there's some correspondence, huh? All right, so what do I have? First of all, I like the examples of, there being looking for an expectation, there being an expectation that something would be there and it not being there. I like the example of the elephant in the room versus the mosquito in the room, of, being able to do a complete search of an area, etc. But I have some other ideas here too. I have here when there's something you know and can recognize, and you go into a place and you do not see it anywhere. The example here would be, I go into a room looking for, John, and I look at everybody in the room. No one's going to have to look at everybody in the room. And I know what John looks like, and I look at everybody's face in the room, and I do not recognize John. So I can then include that absence of evidence for John is evidence of his absence. I have one here when the evidence, when present evidence, when there is some evidence present, suggests a better explanation, quote unquote better. And I kind of go on with that, but there may be, you may not find evidence of what you're looking for, but the evidence that you do find may point to actually a better explanation. That would kind of tend to make you think that maybe what I was looking for is not really, maybe that's really absent because this other thing makes so much more sense. I think I was kind of thinking too about the Copernican theory versus the epicycle theory, that the evidence that they had, there wasn't an absence of evidence, but they have evidence that they had kind of fit better with the other theory. But I'm wandering. I'll stop that. When there is evidence of something else being present. Now, if there's evidence of this something else being present, if the two things are rarely found together, then there is some evidence that the other thing is absent, because the two are rarely found together, and you have found evidence that points to this other thing being present. So the thing that you were looking for is probably not. Now, if those two things are actually mutually exclusive, you have more than evidence of absence, you have proof of absence. So there's sort of a logical part there. If two things are mutually exclusive and you find one of them, the other, evidence of one of them, the other is not there. When the thing being sought is found somewhere else. Now this is another kind of case of mutual exclusivity. Most things, they can't be in two places at once. This is sort of like an alibi in criminal law. When the thing sought is found somewhere else and cannot be in two places at once. So you got to be able to find it or observe it in two places at once, or else depend on eyewitness testimony or some other means of distant observation, maybe through binoculars or something. When the evidence that is present is to the contrary, so you may not have evidence of the thing being of evidence of a thing, but you do find whatever evidence you do find points to the contrary or the opposite of the thing. In a way, this is another application of the mutual exclusivity. But also, you have the situation like this. For instance, there's a person, and they're deaf, but they don't appear to be deaf. There's no apparent evidence yet of any deafness there. Maybe they're an excellent lip reader. But then there's a loud noise, and the person does not respond. They're not responding to the loud noise. Then that absence of response constitutes a positive thing. it proves that they're deaf. So it's kind of an interesting application. Um, if it's necessary, if the thing that you're looking for, if its necessary foundation is also absent, um, uh, so you might find I might go into a room looking, want to look into a room to look for a dog, but I find out that in the room there's no oxygen. So the absence of this oxygen, which is foundationally necessary for a dog to survive in that environment, the oxygen is absent. That would imply that the dog is also absent. In fact, if I know there's no oxygen in the room, I don't even have to look in the room. Um, then I have an application here of how do we know when people or creatures are dead? This is sort of a missing persons kind of application. Um, um, if the thing you're looking for, if you've been looking for it longer than the thing naturally lives, okay? So if my cat has been missing for 150 years, if I'm still there, the cat's probably dead. Um, a lot of this is based on previous experience and previous communication. Someone has previously frequently communicated with us, but now has not called for a very, very long time. So there's a break in the pattern of communication or continuity. Now that's not conclusive proof. It's just evidence. I mean, they could be, they could have amnesia somewhere, or be in jail, or be in the hospital, or in a coma, or who knows what. If a reliable person promises to be there but does not show up, so they've made a solemn promise and they're reliable to you, and for some reason they don't show up, you sort of immediately get concerned that hey, maybe they're gone, maybe they're dead. If a person has a critical interest in being there but does not show up, maybe their life depends on them being there and they don't show up, that may mean that they're already dead. And then we have, of course, testimony of a reliable witness who says they saw them die. Now also, absence of evidence can be evidence of absence if it has previously been assigned that meaning. It's kind of a code system, and this you see this in movies where no, where someone shows up and they put a tape in, or they have a letter and it says, if you are reading this letter, it means that I am dead. So it's like a code situation. The absence has been given a positive meaning, either because you believe what's in the letter that says so, or you previously made an agreement that that's what that code would mean. So if I don't show up at this date, it means they've got me. Or if I don't do the following things, it means that I'm dead. But it would still be based on an absence, just that the absence has been given the positive meaning. Finally, paraphrasing Sherlock Holmes, because I don't remember the exact wording, but if every other possibility has turned out to be impossible, then the remaining one, no matter how plausible, is the solution. So if every other thing has been checked and it's all impossible, then the only remaining cause, the only remaining explanation has to be the one. So that can be evidence of evidence of absence too. All right, that's what I got so far. Just some ideas on those, and I'm up to 9 minutes, so I am going to sign out. Okay, bye.